Hi, it is so good to be here. Thank you very much for having me. So I have two elephants in the room. I'm just going to get it off my chest, and then we'll move on with the stuff I know. Firstly, I am CEO of Thundafund. We are a place where creatives crowdfund. We have no hot, happening music campaigns on our platform at the moment. And I'm hoping by speaking to you today, we're going to fix that. So that's my first elephant. My second is not a muso, but I am a creative. So back in the day, I wrote and produced plays. So a lot of this talk is going to be shared from the point of view of a performer who knows the struggle in that way. I also do know that there is a range of people from the industry here today. And as Thundafund, we're really interested to see what we can do with sector bodies for different sectors as fundraisers. So please talk to us as well. But today, I'm here with a creator's heart. That's me. And I'm guessing that if you saw my talk on the program about crowdfunding, it was the funding part that you were interested in, yeah? Because that's kind of where my journey started too. Quick question. How many of you have that uncle or aunt or person who has so much money, they're like, dude, just I'll fund your project. Raise your hand. Unfortunately, me either. I'm always hopeful. If someone does, I'm like, this is my phone number. So that little tent in that circle was a little cafe called Kualapa. So I'd just come out of kind of doing commercials and festival circuits. I was really ready for a different adventure. And I got invited to buy into this. And of course, who has the funding for very cool new projects? And I'd literally been to a talk on crowdfunding and thought, let me try this. It was before platforms really existed. It's a long time ago, not going to tell you when yet. And I used email and a spreadsheet. And I emailed every single person that I knew, and I meant everyone, and said, this is something I want to do. Buy in with me, help me buy stock, help me kind of redecorate. I'll give you free lunches. And I raised 83,000 Rand, and I managed to buy into this little cafe. And interestingly, the cafe itself didn't make it. But this is funny enough because it started me off on an amazing journey. And I was very proud of the work we did. And all our staff went on to better careers, just saying. But, what did happen is because I'd raised that money, people started asking and said, how did you do this? And one of the projects that I got reached out to was the Labia Theatre. So it's literally around the corner. Who here knows the Labia Theatre? It's an independent movie theatre, a couple of people. So it's now been running, I think, so it's 65 years old, but at the time, the owner had it for 26 years. It was in 2015, and the film industry took a major shift. And I don't know how many people remember this, but they went from celluloid, which was those beautiful old film projectors, and it moved to digital. Everyone is excited except the Labia Theatre because they charge 40 Rand for a ticket, and one of those projectors, the new digital fancy pants projectors, cost 250,000 Rand. So they were facing the end of business. Someone said to me, should we crowdfund? Thundafund by then was a platform that was available. And here's something I will say probably later again in the presentation. The Labia Theatre, the staff, the owner, had already done the work. They'd been running it for 26 years. They had a lot of fans and supporters. We ran a campaign. We raised 550,000 Rand. But what I discovered in this is it was more than the funds. They thought they needed 2 million. Actually, what they needed was 500,000 in their community. So they found two of those projectors at a discount. And the one, I mean, a lot happened in the campaign, but the one thing that I will remember forever is Tractor Outdoor Media phoned up and said, while you're running this campaign, do you want a billboard on Orange Street? So imagine the cost of that advertising. And they just gave it to the Lavia Theatre for free. So that campaign for me really triggered my interest in the power of crowdfunding. And then I worked on various other campaigns during COVID. Of course, there was a big need. So I started helping for friends, and people started coming and saying, come work. And ultimately, Thundafund offered me the role of CEO, and I wrote a book, which obviously I crowdfunded for, just to prove it was viable. And what is funny for that, the reason I even mention it, is look at that funny journey I went on. From a little cafe, all the way through to being offered a job. You don't know where these communities and networks take you. So that's why crowdfunding is very special to me. And I also feel honor bound to start with the reality. This is not an easy funding route. Often what happens is you'll go, oh, I need 100,000 Rand, I need 1 million Rand. You put up your campaign, and we'll go through how to do a campaign, I promise. And then you don't get there. And I find that quite heartbreaking, because there are little things you can do. But it is good to be aware that 1 in 5 campaigns make it past the 3,000 Rand mark. Often I think that is giving you incredibly valuable information. So it's not a failure. It's just something saying, there's stuff to be learned here. All that target is not how much funds you're going to receive. It's just telling you how high the hill is. But here's the dream. Imagine being a painter, putting the first dab of paint on the canvas and knowing that the painting's already sold. Imagine being a recording artist, walking into the recording studio for the first time and knowing your record is a gold. That's dreams happened on Thundafund. Dreams do come true, big and small. Fokov Politica, anyone here familiar? So it's a South African band, Afrikaans. They run into that problem a lot. Swear words, profanity, not PC. Very few record labels wanted to give them record deals. And they needed control, artistic control. So in 2017, they decided to crowdfund for their album called Self-Medicasi. They needed 500,000 Rand. They raised that in 9 days. Over 30 days, they raised 1.2 million Rand. So those big dreams can happen. Remember, they'd done the work already. They had fans. And it's really interesting. Sorry, the chair's in the way, so I'll read it. But it says, it feels like an insult to call our fans fans. Something intangible binds Fokov to their audience. They have a very special relationship with their audience. Over here, Kingdom Community Church needed 5,000 to release their debut album, Praise album. They raised 6,000, so 110% of the target. So 6,000. The reason I put these two together, I'm not sure they'd be happy about being played together, is they have one thing in common. They have a very special relationship. They know who their audience is. And the privilege I believe we have as creators, especially musicians, is that your unique audience might be in Denmark and surprising you. So it doesn't have to be just your neighborhood. And that is something that is very unique. Not many campaigns have that advantage. So rewards-based crowdfunding is... Who here knows that phrase, luck is preparation meeting opportunity? Who knows that? Have you ever gone, what preparation? Tell me what to do. Rewards-based crowdfunding is that preparation. The one thing is it gives you control. It might not work, but you can go, I'm going to go get funding today. I'm going to find it. Don't have to wait for funding proposal to come back. Don't have to wait for a recording contract to be offered. Don't have to wait for gig booking. I can create it. So it gives you control. It also separates the money from the art. You can raise your funds, then walk into that recording studio as Schofield did and record the album. And it helps you identify who those special, unique fans are. So for me, crowdfunding is more than funds because it gives you choice, helps you create quality, and builds your resilience for a career, because you'll find out who your fans are. So blah, 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 crowdfunding, yeah, it's amazing. I'm the CEO, of course I'm going to say it. But this is, how do we do it, what is it? So this is very basic walkthrough of the concept. Stuff goes on, but you have an idea. You create a campaign online. Online is key to the definition of crowdfunding. It's online. You get a link, you send it to your friends, your family, your crowd. Some of them will pledge, give cash. Hopefully they love your project so much they share it. Oh my goodness, everyone gives you money and you hit your target. So that's kind of how crowdfunding works step by step. There are lots of platforms. Most platforms will follow a very similar format. Is this a familiar format to anyone here? Is it a little bit? I'm going to ask you to, thanks for the nods. I'm going to ask you to raise hand as well. Cool. Often there'll be, I'm going to cover it. Often there'll be video, your target, how far you're reaching your target, how many backers. And the reason it follows quite a similar format is it's all psychology, and it plays with your viewers. Because if you come to a campaign and no one's backed it, you're not going to be that interested. But every time there's backers, so this is 61 people came in and gave this campaign money, maybe I'll join in. So the whole crowdfunding kind of pages are designed around the psychology of helping people. You don't need a campaign. I had the email in the spreadsheet. Baxter Theatre during COVID raised 2.5 million rand through crowdfunding on their website. There's a playwright, Mike van Graan, who's quietly been running an email list, and every now and then we'll send out a call for funds. But a platform really helps. These are two South African, one BackerBuddy, which is just donations, and Thundafund, which is rewards-based, which rewards-based is a gift for creatives. I'm going to mention and use an example from two international platforms. They're very important. Kickstarter was probably the original, and it's American-based. It's now passed $9 billion US for different creative projects. Almost 100 million pledges. Why this one is so completely interesting is there's an artist called Amanda Palmer, or if I may, Amanda fucking Palmer. That was her official title, not good on radio either. She raised, I wrote these down because I had COVID and I don't want to forget the numbers, but in 2012, she raised $1.2 million for her album from almost 25,000 supporters in 30 days. So that made the world sit up and look at Kickstarter and Amanda Palmer. There's now also internationally a really interesting platform called Patreon, which is where you don't raise around single projects, you go for monthly subscriptions. Interestingly, they don't call themselves crowdfunding anymore. They call themselves a digitization platform, a subscription service. They sell digital products. So it's very interesting. And why I keep her up is this is a really good example of what you can do as an artist with crowdfunding. This is Amanda Palmer. She's now on Patreon with 23,000 supporters. But what is magical about rewards-based crowdfunding is there is your $3 download. That's if you want her song. $3 done. Now, am I correct? Because I don't know the industry well, but usually that's where your money's going to come from. And maybe kind of merchandising and sponsorships. $3. What she's done and what you can do with rewards-based crowdfunding is open up the range of what you're offering. So you can offer experiences, rewards. So here, $10 a month, pay her $10 a month, and you can join a web chat. Just chat to her. There's some really fun ones you can play. Art in the Mail, $25 a month. Sometimes during a year, she'll draw you a picture and post it to you. So it's a very unique kind of approach. It's not, she is a musician, she performs, she's very busy, but these are other ways that people are thanked and become part of her journey. So this is me talking. Crowdfunding done well will get your project off the ground, but used wisely, it's a building block towards a successful career through building a relationship with your fans from the beginning. Some may get the visual reference. It's a lady who's done that fan relationship very, very well. So if 1 in 5 campaigns get off the ground, what is interesting, you get past 3,000, normally you'll go further. Firstly, speaking as a platform, we don't find you funding, you find the funds. Where do you find them? You start with these 3 circles. It's like a ripple, a stone in a pond and ripples go out. You start with the people you know. Everybody's got that fan, their mom or baby sister or best friend. You start with those people. Then you start reaching out to the people that you know about or may know you. And there it's things like your neighborhood WhatsApp group, community radio. You start a little bit wider. And what seldom happens, but if it does, that's when those big dreams happen, is if you reach media and it goes viral. Also when you click the arrow. What we have here is a metaphor for how hard this is to happen. So the people you don't know, and there, as Barry and Martin were talking about, why are you interesting? Well, imagine you get that press release. Foko Politika sent those releases. Hey, just raised 500,000 Rand in 9 days. Someone bought my guitar, which I've had enough of and has cracks, for 25,000 Rand. That gets the media interest. So if you have a successful campaign, you can create stories. So that's the people you don't know. And then there's another sliver, which we often don't talk about, but probably bring in the majority of your funding, is partnerships. And the nicest way I can think of is sharing an example. So we had a campaign for a book. It was a transport safety book. The lady raised maybe 4,000 or 5,000 Rand from her supporters. It was actually doing very nicely. But the Nissan dealership spotted her campaign and asked to sponsor it, because that was a brilliant way for them to kind of reach out to their customers in a new way. You can also go and seek those partnerships. As Thundafund, that is something we're also doing. We had a partnership, it's closed now, with Standard Bank, where if you raised 50, they gave you 50 to qualifying businesses. So I promise you I'm looking for more of those. But those partnerships can take your campaign somewhere very exciting and very quickly. Oh, this is probably the most important fact of actually any, you guys were fundraising, any fundraising. 85% of donations were occurred because someone made the ask. And this is why you're glad we're not looking for funding for you and you're looking for you, because you're the person who loves your project the most. You're the person who believes in yourself the most. So go ask. And I'm going to kind of round up with a hot tip. This is a mistake I made, and I've been doing it for 10 years. With the ask, be brave and be clear. So when I launched the book crowdfunding, I was like, hey, co-wrote a book, please share the link. And everyone was so helpful. They shared the link. My campaign went nowhere. In the last week, I was like, I know what I need to do. Hi, please buy my book. It'll help you raise funds. Here's the link. Oh, well, since you ask, it is here. Normally 500 and 350 for today. But when you're asking, be so clear what you want. In all of it, with the radio interviews, like, what is your song about? Be clear why you want the exposure. And then this is a side, I think mostly because that picture is one of my most precious possessions, so I wanted to share it. Because also, please don't forget how powerful you are as musicians, as creators, as podcasters. This is freshly ground in 2015, so the band looks different now. But they donated a performance for the Harare International Festival of the Arts and helped raise 20,000 Rand. So as we were saying, collaborate, help each other. Maybe you don't need to raise funds for you, but you can help raise funds for someone else. I also think this was in 2015, we organized a concert during the xenophobic violence, and just to help there. During the day, we were at the Baxter Theatre, it was packed. So many musicians came together, so many creatives. It was a long program, 4 hours. We raised 50,000 because of the tickets. But man, if we'd had a Backabuddy crowdfunding in the room, that audience would have been very motivated, and I bet you we would have raised $500,000. It was just, I didn't know about crowdfunding back in the day. What is always a lovely thing to do is speak to somebody who's been through this. So that's where I'm going to end. This is a comedian, Phil DeLange. Raise your hands here, please, if you know Phil DeLange. 1, 2, 3, nice. So guys, this is luck. No? Yeah, preparation, meeting, opportunity. He doesn't need to do anything today, and you've just heard his name because he did a crowdfunding campaign. But this is Phil, he was a comedian, and this year in August, he raised money to go to the Edinburgh Festival. I loved his campaign for 3 reasons. The one is he was very clear. He was working nights, he was working 2 extra jobs to pay for his trip to get to the Edinburgh Festival. So it wasn't like a, just give me, he was like, help me, work with me. He also had some fantastic rewards. My favorite was his, it's not on there. Send me your name and I'll sing you a ukulele song. And I'll use your name in it. Awesome, who gets to do that? And finally, he was amazing. If you contributed to his campaign, he was in contact immediately, said thank you, followed up. So he really, really took advantage of just meeting these new people supporting him. Oh. So I'm going to let Phil speak. Thank you.
My name is Thundafund. I'm a Canadian that made use of Thundafund. I started a crowdfunding campaign a few months ago because I got accepted to go to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival with my show for Monty. But I didn't have the money to go, and going to anywhere overseas, actually, as a South African, is quite an expensive task. Initially, I was a little bit hesitant to do it because I had this mentality that, you know, there's more deserving people out there that should get donations from other people. And then a friend told me, well, I mean, you might as well try. If you get nothing, you get nothing. If you don't do it, then you've got nothing anyway. And I tried it, and I was pleasantly surprised by everybody that jumped on board quite quickly. And by the end of the campaign, I had reached about 70% of my target. That actually ended up being enough to get me there because I had done work on the side and done other fundraising initiatives to try and get me the money that I needed to go there. So without Thundafund, I would have never been able to perform at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival this year. It was everything I've ever wanted to do, and it was definitely a dream for me, being able to work amongst thousands of performers at the biggest arts festival in the world was just an experience that's very hard to explain. So when we say more than funds, for me, it basically means, you know, this isn't just about people helping you to achieve something that you want to achieve. It's also about pushing yourself creatively and also putting yourself out there and letting people know that they can be part of your journey.
And that's it. Invite people to be part of your journey. Thank you. Happy crowdfunding.